Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Humza Yousaf is clearly a man who cannot be taken at his word. Evidence has come to light, evidence that the SNP wanted kept secret, not only because of their general level of secrecy that they have for everything, but also because this particular secret was embarrassing for their leader and damaging for the party. But nonetheless, this evidence has come out. Hamza Yusuf missed a key vote. It was a vote that would affect the lives of many Scots people, and he deliberately avoided it. And he lied about why he avoided it. The evidence is out. He did not attend meetings that he claimed he attended in order to make sure that he was neither seen voting for nor against the gay marriage vote. Why? Well, obviously, it's his religion. And so he's taken, a rain check. I won't be there for the vote. And then he lies about why he won't be there. Now, Hamza Yusuf must make a choice. He is an elected official. He represents the people who voted him into office. He stands for all the people of Scotland, and he should represent all the people of Scotland. But he doesn't do this. He clearly has a problem with gay people and gay marriage in particular. So the choice is clear for Mr. Humza Yousaf. He must choose a life of public service and representing people, or his own personal religious beliefs. He cannot square this circle. We'll take a look at this article and we will see why this man must either resign as a minister or denounce his faith. Here goes. Right, this story was in the Herald. It's exclusive to them. They actually gleaned all the information for this. So kudos for them. Well done to the journalists at the Herald doing a proper day's work. Humza Yousaf faces more questions over missed gay marriage vote. There are more questions over Humza Yousaf's decision to miss a key vote on gay marriage after documents obtained by the Herald undermine his claim that he was unable to take part because of an unavoidable meeting. This meeting was it was perfectly avoidable. It was just simply used to protect him from having to make a formal stance on whether he voted for it, which would be against his religious beliefs, or against it, which would be against the party's intentions. And so he made and created in his own mind this unavoidable meeting. The Scottish Government had initially wanted to keep the papers a secret, but they were ultimately forced to hand over a series of briefings, letters and notes relating to the case of Mohammed Asghar, the Scot with a history of mental illness who was on death row in Pakistan for blasphemy at the time. And just being on death row for blasphemy tells you exactly what kind of country Pakistan is, where you're not allowed to have free thought or believe in things that other people don't believe in, or not believe in things that other people do. They treat you as a vassal. You are not a free and individual person, and it's because it's a religiously fundamental state. The same religion, of course, as Humza Yousaf, who would love to impose those kind of rules in Scotland and in Britain generally, I think, and worldwide, and make he's one of those who pushes for the worldwide caliphate. Anyway, the correspondence released has no record of the meeting that Mr. Yousaf attended at the Consulate of Pakistan. Let me just rephrase that. The correspondence released has no record of the meeting that Mr. Yousaf claimed he attended at the Consulate of Pakistan in Glasgow on the same day as the final Holyrood vote on equal marriage. In other words, he invented this meeting. He can't back it up. There's no evidence it ever happened. There's no minutes. There's nothing. He lied, and he did this so that he wouldn't be seen to come down either way, either against his religion or against his party. Unusually, it goes on to say, there is no minutes, no briefing papers were prepared in advance. It is also not mentioned in subsequent papers detailing the actions taken by the Scottish Government in relation to Mr. Asghar's case. The government didn't know anything about it. This was invented in the mind of Humza Yousaf as his beard, if you will. It was his cloak. It was his way of hiding from actually voting. The paperwork also seemingly contradicts Mr. Yousaf's claim that he became engaged with the case after the family had pleaded for the government to try to get involved. A note prepared by the Scottish Government's International Division on the 27th of January, 11 days after Mr Yousaf had added the meeting with the consulate into his ministerial diary, said the family of Mohammed Asghar have not approached the Scottish Government. Again, he's adding things into his diary after the events, not before, and then he's lying about things that, they asked me to get involved when they clearly didn't. He needs to account for himself. Why is this man lying? Is it to protect himself from his fellow mosque goers? Is it because he doesn't want to stand in a mosque and say, no, it's fine, I voted for gay marriage because I personally believe that it's right, in which case you know that the other people at his mosque would not be entirely happy? Or would he stand up in the party and say, I'm sorry, I have to resign because I cannot agree with my own party on this issue? And so he did neither, because he has no balls. If he stood up either way you would say, well, okay, he's taken a moral. If he goes with his religion, he says, right, I'm resigning from the government, I'm resigning from my post because this decision goes against my religious, beliefs. It goes against my philosophical beliefs. I cannot agree with it. And that's fine. He's taken a moral stance, and that's absolutely fine. And you say, well done. You've stood your ground. You've said what you think. That's your belief, and that's fine. And then you've done the right thing, and you've resigned. Or you say, well, my religion teaches that this is wrong. However, I personally agree with the stance of my party, and therefore I must humbly subject my religion to the fact that it is wrong on this matter. Have you ever tried telling a Muslim that the Quran is wrong? It doesn't end well. And so he very bravely missed the vote. And what's worse, the real crime here is he lied about why he missed the vote. Anyway, we'll get back here. Mr Yousaf's voting history came under scrutiny during his campaign for the SNP leadership, when former Health Secretary Alex Neil claimed the then Minister for External Affairs wanted to avoid the equal marriage vote as he was under pressure from the mosque. And it's clearly true, which is why he lies. Though he backed the legislation in principle at stage 1 in November 13, he was the only minister to miss the crucial stage 3 vote on the 4th of February 2014. This is because he had himself created a diary clash 19 days in advance of the vote by arranging to meet the Consul General. In other words, he knew this vote was coming up and he knew there was no way he could vote either for or against the vote. If he voted for it, he would be telling his religion that it was wrong, and if he was voting against it, he would have to, as a minister, resign from the party, or at least resign from his role as minister. And he didn't want to do anything because A, he doesn't want to upset his fellow, religionists, and B, he likes the money and the kudos of being a minister of state, and so he lies, creates this diary clash, and avoids the vote. Now, the question here is, if he's avoiding a vote on this issue, what other issues will he avoid a vote on? What other issues will he lie to his party, to his friends, to his colleagues, and to the Scottish people? Where do the lies end? There'll be a vote on, termination of something, maybe, termination of babies. Will he avoid that vote? What about alcohol, the alcohol question? Will he avoid that vote? What about all sorts of things that the Scottish people have a view on, have a right to be represented about, and their representative isn't voting for them, isn't representing them? It's a fundamental question of representation and the rights of the people to be represented. He is not capable of doing his job. He must come out right now and immediately state which is more important, representing the people of Scotland or his religion, because he cannot do both, and he must make that choice. Anyway, we'll continue with this story. Mr Yousaf repeatedly denied claims, saying there was no other date he could have attended the meeting. Clearly a lie. During the leadership contest, he told journalists this was an unavoidable meeting, not a meeting to just discuss policy or have a chinwag about any old issues. This was about a Scottish citizen in Pakistan on death row whose family very publicly had pleaded for the government to try and get involved to secure his release. They had not asked the Scottish government to do that. He lies yet again. He said the Scottish Government initially refused to release documents about Mr Yousaf's meeting and their work on Mr Ashgar's case, bizarrely claiming it would undermine the promotion of human rights and endanger human rights defenders. This is bizarre. This is a case of a man on death row, and they're saying we can't talk about it because of human rights. Clearly another lie. Clearly these people do not want to be inspected, to have the light of publicity pushed on them, because they know that everything they build their entire case on is a pack of lies. However, the Herald appealed after they admitted that a different decision should have been reached. And the day after Mr Yousaf missed the Stage 3 gay marriage vote, then Labour MSP Mary Fee tabled a very specific written parliamentary question about his diary. This revealed the then Minister for Parliamentary Business, Joe Fitzpatrick, requested on the 14th of January 2014 that Mr Yousaf be present in the chamber for the gay marriage vote. 2 days later, on January the 16th, Mr Yousaf himself requested a meeting with the Pakistan Consul General in Glasgow on the day of the vote. So he knew when the vote was and arranged a meeting on that day so that he could avoid the vote. And yet there's no record of the meeting, there's no record of the minutes, there's no record of any preparatory notes, there's nothing. Did he even go to that meeting, or is that also a figment of his lying imagination? Mr Yousaf first mentioned the meeting with the consulate on Twitter when he was asked about his absence from the marriage vote. He wrote, had a ministerial engagement arranged beforehand but signed the pledge, voted for stage 1 and very public about my continued support, and yet could not vote because he did not want that vote as a matter of public record because it would stand against him and against his religion. If he voted for it, he's saying effectively that his religion is wrong and he dare not do that. And that, I'm afraid, is a problem. Because, as I've said, he can either represent people or he can represent his religion. He cannot do both. He needs to resign and make that choice. I shall come up. So there you are, Humza Yousaf, a man who lies, a man who creates fake diary entries so that he can avoid a vote on an important issue because he is too cowardly, too craven to put either yes or no, to his name. So simply avoiding the vote ends the problem. He's got to make a stance. He's got to say whether he agrees with his party or his religion, because it is a fundamental choice that he has to make, because his representation of the people demands that he represents them and not just his religion. It is fundamental to any democracy. And if he cannot fulfill his democratic mandate to represent people, then he must resign and let someone else do it so that they can do the job fully and without fear of upsetting one or the other. He's just a coward, isn't he? Anyway, I shall finish there. Thank you very much for listening. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, please hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video, but definitely leave a like. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, make a wise choice, and goodbye.